Preparing.
Welcome back, Lelanders, to a new episode of Gravity Well News. Now, it was about a month ago that I had a pretty major discovery when it came to the Gravity Well maps, and I just got back visiting my mom, so I figured I got the computer, got set up to check out some Gravity Well maps, and we can share with the viewers the information I found about the 90-degree pole shift. So if anyone's followed a lot of the internet rumors, the rabbit holes on YouTube, talking about different pole shifts, they usually talk about the pole shifting completely, like flipping 180. So the North Pole becomes the South Pole and vice versa, and a magnetic flip rather than like a physical flip of the poles. But today's episode, we're going to kind of touch on the research of, who is it, Chan Thomas, and also a little bit about Graham Hancock, and talking about ancient cataclysms. And we'll check out how I determined that this was the location of the previous North or South Poles. So we'll check that out. So first things first, I guess let's bring up a gravity well map so we can give people an idea of how these conclusions were reached. Alright, let's go to the actual Google Earth. Alright, there we go. Let's remove the chat for today because we're not live. Now, if people want to see live episodes, just make sure to comment, like, share in the chat saying that you want live episodes. The more requests I get for live episodes, the more we'll do. Alright, so here's just a picture of the weather right now on the South Pole with Google Earth Pro and the weather file. So the weather file adds all the clouds and stuff. Now, I like to show people that gravity wells often influence weather patterns. I'm pretty sure that's well established already within science, but they don't really map the gravity wells, so you can see once you have the Perry-Reese version. Well, let's get to that. So if people have seen the Perry-Reese map before, they've seen a map covered in, what is it, red? Let's go to a good one. So they've seen these orb locations. Let's put on the orbs. So you get these orbs from Perry-Reese's map. Goes, well, I'll look at his map here. I got it next to me. His goes black, red, blue, red, black. It's like an alternating orb pattern of blue, red, and black. But I used yellow on here just to make it a little easier to see. So what I ended up doing is drawing the best I could to put his map onto Google Earth Pro. I know it looks like a hell of a lot of lines, but if you take it all the way down just to the base layer, like just draw one of the colors, the formula for drawing it is actually pretty basic. It's like Occam's razor. The most simplest solution usually is the solution, or something like that. So anyways, what you do is you take the planet and you just split it at the equinox points. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, bring up a normal map, and you can see that the Arctic Circle line is one of them. The prime meridian's another. We'll talk more about that. The Tropic of Cancer, the equator, Tropic of Capricorn, the Arctic Circle line. Like, you can see that I'm just dividing the planet on the already well-established points where you can divide it, that normal maps already do, or modern maps. And the only difference is people have noticed on a normal or modern map, the equator is a great circle line. And what I mean by great circle is it goes right around the entire planet and doesn't shrink. Like the line is just like a full circle right around in a straight line. But if you look at the other lines on the map, each one of them gets smaller in circumference so that it can go around the entire globe where it's pointed. So what I did for the Perry Reese map, instead of making the equator the only great circle, every line marked in yellow is a great circle line, just like the equator, where it starts at the Tropic of Capricorn, except instead of bending and getting smaller, it's a full circle around the whole globe. It's just a message from my girlfriend. I think she always worries about me when I travel. Yeah. No, she thinks I have another girlfriend, but I don't. No, when I'm traveling, I'm just visiting my mom and basically sitting working on gravity wells and live streaming games. Trying to get more done, but man, I've been getting a lot of headaches this week. Alright, so yeah, I'll message her back in 1 minute. Won't leave her hanging too long. So yeah, that's basically the breakdown of a gravity well map, is you just have to draw great circles on every major point instead of making them modern lines. Alright, so we'll turn off the grid because that's way too many lines. Now people have kind of noticed, probably just by glancing at it first glance, that the gravity well map, anytime there's a big central location for an orb, it pushes the land away. Sort of like a black hole, and how black holes are not really pulling things into them, but getting things to orbit around them. So that's what we see with all the major gravity well points. And obviously the one here in Africa really stands out, how it's like the entire continent split around it. And just to give a little bit more of a data to back this up, if you put on the NASA or the government's Earth Impact Crater database, you can see the largest craters in the world, and look where they are. So that gravity well central point is actually one of the biggest craters yet. And they said that it used to be considered a meteor impact, but the outer red ring is now not. So they've rejected that idea. They don't know what's causing this giant depression or crater formation, but they know it's there. But oddly enough, the blue ones, they're still suspecting those are meteors. But I highly doubt a whole bunch of meteors just crash down in one little spot like that, right? Maybe it's possible, but I'm still thinking it's more evidence for the gravity well. Now people can look at this and be like, oh, how come there's other orb locations and that the land hasn't been pushed away there yet? Well, I think that's what we'll get into next, is we're going to start looking at Chan Thomas and his evidence for a 90-degree pole shift. So let's turn off the Earth impact craters for now. So what most people think of when they hear the pole shift, they think the North Pole and the South Pole flipping. So the poles are pretty much the same spots, but they're just going to flip 180. So interestingly enough, that's what I was going by a lot too. I'm like, hey, it's just a flip like that. But then when I was going over the gravity well maps or Perry Reese maps, I noticed that the gravity well lines, they tend to leave big imprints of like huge, what are they called? Trenches or arches. The things on the bottom of the ocean. Does anyone remember what those are called? So anyways, you get those big lines on the bottom of the ocean. And I started to look at other ones that lined up. I'm like, okay, this is all making sense. But then we came into a problem. You look at the line that splits down from the Bangladesh and it goes down, it should continue straight. So I don't get it. Like when I was looking at the map, I'm like, why the heck is it going down with the equator or the prime meridian, but for some reason it takes a 90-degree turn. So I was thinking, geez, isn't that 90-degree turn weird? And what could have caused such a thing? So for the longest time, I thought about that 90-degree curve, seen more evidence of it here in Hawaii. You see how it drags straight for so many years. Then all of a sudden a big 90-degree turn occurred. And a lot of people talk about this as like crust displacement theory and all that, like a sliding crust on a molten core. So where did this evidence for 90 degrees come from? Why do we keep seeing it on our planet? And I never really came across any research for a long time, maybe almost a decade after discovering this. Well, when did I discover this? The year 2000 and was it 18? Yeah, I guess it would be around 2018. So not that long ago, but still pretty long ago. So we got the 90 degree. So I was like, when am I ever going to find more information about it? Oh yeah. So maybe before we get to it, we'll go to how I got the location for the other thing. So at this point, man, I think I was watching a YouTube video or listening to a radio show about it, and they're explaining how the pole actually shifts 90 degrees, not 180. So shift it 90. I'm trying to remember how I discovered it too. It's been a while. All right, so we got it there. So shift it 90. So anyways, I arrived at this location. So this location here, I'll get more into details how I did it before. I'm going to have to remember. It was like a month ago that I did it. But anyways, when I flipped the continent and then scrolled across, I was looking for evidence for the North Pole, and there's the North Pole. If anyone hasn't seen my other maps about the North Pole, let's bring one of those up. So there we go. There we have what the North Pole, how you see that arch or the giant square that it makes. We can look at a really good example of how the square is made. Let's see if I can bring that up. Now what I did is I recreated what the North Pole used to look like and compared it to today and made the creation of this recreation going on the data from the gravity well map. So let's bring it here. There it is. Sorry, just the neighbor started to come outside, so I had to close the window. Alright. God, this is really annoying. Oh, there it is, summary. I was looking in the wrong folder. I'm like, why am I not able to find the folder or the images? Alright, so move that so I can see. There we go. Well, I can't shift that from side to side. What is going on? Does So anyways, you can see here that before the South Pole split in half, we did shows about that, but when the South Pole split in half, all of a sudden you had the breakup of the North Pole. So it used to be a much more uniform square that lined up with the gravity well pattern. But after the pole started to get split in half, it started to drift across through here. So now we get this wandering pole that goes through here over and over for an ice age cycle. Sort of like almost a figure eight around it. But when it did it, it smashed up the land. So instead of having it connect to Europe with the second land bridge, explaining all the red-haired mummies here a long time ago. But anyways, yeah, so those land bridge got destroyed after the destruction of the South Pole, or when the South Pole was split in half. Maybe we got time to cover that. Yeah, so if anyone hasn't noticed before, a lot of Pangea models actually show that the South Pole, a long time ago, used to be a super South Pole, and both of these continents were connected together. But you can see where the crack of the Earth is. We'll put on the plate boundaries. It's split there and then drifted apart. So it used to be merged together, even with the giant continent of Zealandia. All three of them just went squished together. So when that split in half and the pole started wandering back and forth, that's when you start to get that other drifting pole in the north. So I never thought about that. If the crust of the Earth helps mark where the other North Pole is, then this second North Pole should have a crust mark too. It's funny, it's harder for me to see it without it. Yeah, there's the split line across the other. Let's put it in. Oh, yeah. So that was the other crust line that used to go through the North Pole. So that's the second North Pole that we're looking at for the Earth Cataclysm. I guess won't make this video super long because I got to message my girlfriend back before she wonders what's taking so long. So yeah, if anyone likes the gravity well maps and they want to see more information about how I managed to determine this was the second North Pole, we'll cover a little bit more of the other slides I got ready too, but we don't have time for today. Oh, fuck. I managed to swear too. Yeah, so there it is. Some of the other slides I got ready. Man, it's a shame I sweared. I was really trying to make sure I didn't swear this episode, and I did right at the end. But anyways. Yeah, the second North Pole. We'll get more into the physics behind it. This is one of the symbols for it, if anyone hasn't seen it before. It's kind of interesting. It's got that 90-degree bend to it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that actually does happen again in our lifetimes. That could this be the reason that Chan Thomas book was banned? We'll just... Oh, fuck off. Oh, I swore again. Now, I was trying to bring up an entire list of folders, and I grabbed one, but not all of them. Anyways. So there's a couple good podcasts and YouTubers that did shows about it. It's Chan Thomas, the Adam and Eve story. Apparently there's this Dr. Chan Thomas who has like a longer full name, but that was what the name he wrote under. So you can listen to that one. Talks about how his book was banned by the CIA. I don't know, some people think it's because of the religious content, but I think it's more about the Earth Cataclysm, where he talked about the 90-degree pole shift. There's not a lot of people that wrote about that I could find, so it's interesting that the only person I found that wrote about it, large crustal drift theory, So the only guy that wrote about it got his book banned by the CIA for 50 years. So it talks about how the climate will suddenly change when all of a sudden the mainland is not where it used to be when it comes to the North Pole. Yeah, they talk about how the mammoths, how they froze, even though they were in like a tropical place, and they froze so fast that they were still chewing food. Crustal displacement, tsunamis. So it's kind of an interesting book. If anyone's read it and they want to post their review in the chat below, I'd really appreciate it. The Uniform Theory. Great Flood. So he ties it into some biblical stuff. I have no idea about the biblical stuff. I do follow that a little bit, but it's a lot of hearsay and so many different versions of books. Some people think it's Sumerian, others not. So author Chan Thomas, the CIA, apparently he used to work for the military. I don't know if that's true. It's hard to find a Wikipedia page. Someone should create one for Chan Thomas so we can start collecting information. If someone knows his Wikipedia page already, let me know. I could have swore I managed to look it up, but then when I tried today, I couldn't find it. So there's some pictures of him. Mainstream news, like Daily Mail, they wrote an article about it, but they didn't really get much into the 90-degree pole flip. Amazon has a couple books for them. I noticed they had in a really old version that costed like a crap load of money, but that might have been Amazon.com. Alright, so the Reddit, they've got a page about it too. It's pretty cool. Little bit of information. It sounds a bit conspiratorial, but you never know when it comes to the cataclysms why they had to cover it up. Archive.org, they've got the actual book if anyone wants to read it. Someone was telling me there's supposed to be 143 pages, so whatever this book has is still missing a good chunk of it. I don't know how true that is. And even the CIA.gov, they have the book so that you can check it out. Who knows if it is really the whole book or if parts are missing. Alright, so thanks everyone. Talk to you later. Bye for now. Well, we'll check out my sponsors quick. Patron, thanks a million. Suki, Dan, Jim, Ray, Travis, everyone past, present, and future. I'm the worst YouTuber. I never check my Patreon, so if you've been donating for like over a year and I haven't said anything, sorry. This is the one YouTube channel you get nothing for Patreon. Nothing. No, maybe you'll get something soon, but I'm not promising anything. Affiliate links. Thanks again, Society 6, finishing quick. My specialty comes on t-shirts, bed sheets, both popular with the ladies. Hydro TV pays you to watch videos. Swagbucks will pay to shop. GameKit to try games. And free Bitcoin is a wallet system for crypto. And just remember to follow your regional laws, including for the virtual maid sex machine. It's for adults and men only. Ladies need a sex machine. They know who to call. Just kidding. Not to make my girlfriend paranoid that I have a second girlfriend. I don't. $10 off on 150 or more with the coupon code LYNBS. That's LYNBSN. Israel coupon code, and thanks to them. Alright, let's go to the fire screen. If you happen to get any gravity well research in your vaporizer, it tastes like shit, give the show a dislike. But if it doesn't happen, give the show a like and a share. Really appreciate it. Just make sure never buy the products from my bad sponsors, because they will ruin your life. Bye for now, everyone. See you later. Good luck with the pole flip. Later.